I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. The headlines. Mushrooming Chinese lead factories in KABWE worry government. UPND cadres reject KAFUE Council Chairperson BUUMBA Malambo, accusing her of running the council like her home. A labor union challenges government to inspect foreign-owned companies. And in international news, Somalia's president appeals for international help for wounded victims. And in sports, FAS invites application for CHIPOLOPOLO coach. Details coming through after this commercial.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Are you going in grade 6, 8, 10 or 11 in 2023? Waste no time. Born for Greatness Tuition Center will be opening to the public in Kablonga, Lusaka. Quality and experienced teachers guaranteed. Limited space available. Call and book for your child now on
0962 382535.
Classes are starting on 5th December 2022. Born for Greatness Tuition Center. Learning for reigning in life.
And other main news in detail. Residents of Chowa Township and KABWE are living in fear for their health due to the ongoing indiscriminate dumping of lead toxic materials by Chinese companies operating in the area. Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua, after he toured the area, expressed concern at mushrooming of Chinese factories dealing in the lead. The minister also noted with disappointment the unsecured stock of pearled lead ore at one of the Chinese firms under construction, adding that he will not allow Singh residents in the district to be subjected to a toxic environment by any investors.
Despite several warnings on the dangers of lead poison to human health, Chinese investors dealing in lead mining and processing in KABWE have paid a blind eye on the safety of nearby residents. Residents in Chowa, Aerodrome and Wire have been inhaling dust emanations contaminated with lead poison from Chinese firms in the area. These are the stockpiles of lead ore extracted from the infamous Kawasaki open pit mine. However, the dust highly contaminated with lead poison from these stockpiles has adversely affected the health of the nearby residents. Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua visited the site where the Chinese investors are constructing a factory on this piece of land, A59, which is at the center of controversy.
There are people here. That's the house there. Yep. Then here you have put materials which contains lead. Then you are saying in the future you are going to talk to them. After they have already died, who are you going to talk to? These materials, this wind which blows, it gets to them.
What we do is build our welfares to stock.
But you haven't built the welfares, you have powered the material, poisonous material.
And one would wonder how these investors managed to secure the building permit from the local authority, KABWE Municipal Council, and whether the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, have inspected the area to approve the construction of the processing plant of lead and other toxic materials in the area.
Have you got the ZEMA papers?
Not yet. We are doing application.
How are you compiling these materials before Zema
And I get from
approves.
his submission saying,
Yeah, we started this at the same time.
Who approved this construction of this building?
Oh, for this question.
Reporting for Camnet TV News, Petronella Msangulule in KABWE.
Scores of United Party for National Development cadres Monday stormed the KAFUE Civic Center, protesting against the council officials of a suspected illegal dealing and mishandling of affairs affecting the people in the area. The cadres demand the immediate dismissal of Council Chairperson BUUMBA Malambo and her husband, who is Councillor Kerry Liwanga, and KAFUE Town Council Secretary Jonathan Mwanza. UPND KAFUE District Chairperson Mr. Clifford Mwaba, who addressed the protesters, said the three council officials will no longer administer the affairs of the local authority.
United Party for National Development cadres stormed the KAFUE Civic Center, protesting against some council officials over suspected illegal dealings and mishandling of affairs of the local authority. The irate cadres demanded that KAFUE Council Chairperson BUUMBA Malambo and her husband, who is a Councillor Kerry Liwanga, and KAFUE Town Council Secretary Jonathan Mwanza vacate the office.
Samalands aliko kusorobo raista dimaketi kuja even hapa so na proof ya kuti olopa ground tingaendepo so abantu batifuta mushabusale wati. Then number 2 tipeza kuti ma contractors wamu na mukafio siwapeza nchito benekeli banatenga baku procuring team baku then kutamba kutenga ma contractors bakuti kulusaka mwini wa mukafio wabanga kwanise kusebeza nchito tili na
bagametifuna bamebachitikale boza wabene wao bele bumbaba na mwamuna wake bachokelero stifu na boza ya Pakistan kutoka bameba tinabotela kulibe bametiona.
Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary Nicholas Piri later came to hear the cries of the people, but persuading them was not an easy undertaking until UPND KAFUE District Chairperson, who addressed the protesters, said the three officials will no longer administer council affairs.
Kapena cha mungu ipisherekeni ndande na kati wanse watatu council secretary Councillor BUUMBA Malambo na Councillor Kerry Liwanga bachoka pano.
Also present was the District Commissioner Molisi KAPWE. The cadres say they do not want BUUMBA Malambo and Councillor Kerry Liwanga, whom they accuse of running the local authority like a household affair.
Those people are fire. There is no way to weapons the motor government. By-elections. If a stumor as UPND in KAFUE, believe me not,
When reached for a comment, KAFUE District Council Chairperson BUUMBA Malambo declined to comment on the matter. However, Camnet TV understands that the elections which the people of KAFUE want can only be necessitated by death, resignation, expulsion, and incapacitation, and in the case of KAFUE District, expulsion can lead to mayoral and ward by-elections. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
National Democratic Congress faction spokesperson Emmanuel Malite has appealed to President Hakainde Hichilema to intervene by reducing the age limit for the ongoing recruitments. Mr. Malite has proposed that the age limit must be extended to 35 in order to capture more youths. Mr. Malite notes that this is disadvantageous to those who are 27 and above, considering that there was an employment freeze under the Patriotic Front administration. He says if left unchecked, it may lead to corruption, as people may opt to reduce their age by getting new national registration cards. He said the UPND alliance is on the right trajectory in the job creation agenda, but that it is important that the cries of many youths who voted are given a chance to get employment.
PROWLS alliance partners who are committed to see that the president delivers to what we were committed to during our campaigns, that everyone is catered. And one thing that the president and us who campaigned, we promised the Zambian people that we would be able to recruit and employ the Zambian youths. So the age limit has disadvantaged a lot of youths, and the expectation that you have a scenario where in a family a younger one has been employed, the older for 4 years has not been employed, and you know the implication that comes with that. Not only that, we are afraid as a party, even as a party who are committed to see that there is no corruption in this recruitment process, because we have a scenario where individuals who are desperate wants to apply, they want to start tampering with their NRC. That is also going to have a very open up to corruption. So we are afraid this is not something that the president and the relevant authority cannot sit down and try to revise. We have a president that has a listening ear. So this is a concern as a party, it's a concern even as me as a youth, that this has to be looked into critically and face the reality that the Zambia is facing.
The Merchandisers Union of Zambia, MEUZ, has challenged the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to conduct an inspection around foreign-owned retail companies to ascertain whether these are abiding by labour laws of having a well-established human resource office. Reacting to the plight of a 36-year-old man of Lusaka who has been unable to work for 3 years since his injury at a named retail company in Lusaka, headquartered in South Africa, MEUZ General Secretary Raphael Chiwe observed that the many foreign-owned companies are abrogating labour laws. Meanwhile, Labour Commissioner Givens Mtengwa says the ministry has taken note of the matter, advising the aggrieved to visit the ministry for further guidance.
It is well acknowledged that foreign investors help in cushioning the employment deficit in Zambia as they invest in various sectors of the economy. While this is the case, unending reports of worker mistreatment, especially those in the merchandise business, have concerned the Merchandisers Union of Zambia, MEUZ, with the latest case being that of 36-year-old Nicholas Kamitondo of Lusaka, who has remained unable to work after allegedly injuring his spine at Foshini Retailers branch, which is located at Lusaka's Manda Hill Mall, after he fell off a ladder and was never paid his 2 years arrears nor compensated for his injury. The story has caught the attention of MEUZ General Secretary Raphael Chiwe, who says as a matter of urgency, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security should inspect such companies to ascertain if they have human resource officers that ensure that all labour laws are followed. The aggrieved former worker has been complaining that visits to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security have been unfruitful, as he was informed that the company is headquartered in South Africa and has no human resource personnel in Zambia, stating that even pay slips come from South Africa.
The incidents which happened to our colleague at Mandai, it's unfortunate that people are not coming in to help. Please, we are emphasizing that those unions, especially unions who are in the private sector, please let us come in boards and help our workers so that they can see that unions, they are there to help them. No wonder you are seeing in most cases when you go in these shops, they are telling you that labor offices, they are not working at all. It's because of these people, these unions, which are not helping. They are saying we are just there for money. But for sure, if they are not getting the help they want to be helped, for sure they will start accusing us unions that we are just eating the money.
Meanwhile, Labour Commissioner Gibbons Muntengwa has commented on the matter.
Listing down the areas where he's aggrieved, and then from there on we'll be able to make an assessment. But for the injury itself, that's workers' compensation, and he must lodge that claim with workers' compensation. He will have to come to the ministry. We look at exactly what transpired. That's the simplest answer I can give you. Otherwise, in terms of the injury itself, compensation is supposed to come from workers' compensation.
It remains apparent that the goal of creating decent jobs for all by 2030 will not be attained if significant changes are not made in the labor sector. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
An anti-corruption commission investigation officer has told the Economic Financial Crimes Court that he made up his mind to change and arrest a Lusaka couple accused of owing the infamous 51 houses because their income did not match with the money used to purchase their alleged property. Swithin Lusaka told Lusaka Magistrate Fides Hamaundu that according to his investigation, it was revealed that the money which the couple earned of about 1.2 million kwacha could not match the cost of the constructing 51 flats, which slightly is more than 27.8 million kwacha. Earlier, the arresting officer testified that a Tanzanian businessman by the name of Uzel Bashire engaged the accused in this matter, Charles Loyana, power of attorney to invest in a real estate business in Zambia on his behalf. This is in a case where a Lusaka-based couple, Charles Loyana, 51, a senior accountant at the Ministry of Finance, and his wife, Suzanne Loyana, 46, an accountant at the Ministry of Works and Supply, are accused of being in possession of property reasonably to be believed to be proceeds of crime.
Anti-Corruption Commission Investigative Officer Swithin Lusaka concluded giving his testimony Monday afternoon after giving a lengthy testimony which started in the last court session. Appearing this morning before the Lusaka's magistrate under the fast-track court, Mr. Lusaka testified that he made up his mind to charge and arrest the Lusaka couple accused of being in possession of the infamous 51 houses because their income did not match with the money they used to purchase the alleged property. This is in a case in which the state has slapped Charles Loyana, 51, a senior accountant at the Ministry of Finance, and his wife Susan Loyana, 46, an accountant at the Ministry of Works and Supply, with charges of possession of property reasonably believed to be proceeds of crime. The duo have denied the charges. According to the court's records, the property that Mr. and Mrs. Loyana are accused of corruptly acquiring are valued at more than 37 million kwacha. In his testimony, the investigation officer told Magistrate Fides Hamaundu, who sat as the Economic and Financial Crimes Court, that according to his investigation, it was revealed that the money which the couple earned of about 1.2 million kwacha could not match the cost of constructing 51 flats, which was slightly more than 27.8 million kwacha. In his further testimony, the arresting officer narrated how through a warn and caution statement he recorded from a Tanzania businessman, Uzel Bashir had given Mr. Charles Loyana the authority to invest in Zambia on his behalf. The witness told Magistrate Hamaundu that Mr. Bushiri had told him that he had given authority to Mr. Loyana and was done through his cousin Zubero Bingawa, who had been living in Zambia for some time. The Tanzanian businessman Bashiri earlier last year sued the Anti-Corruption Commission before the Lusaka High Court, claiming that the property belonged to him. The matter has since been adjourned to the 12th of December 2022 for cross-examination. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, one of the honeybee pharmacy directors, Zakia Hussein Motala, has submitted before the Constitutional Court that the Lusaka lawyer, Peter Zulu, who has dragged him and others to court, blackmailed him to give him money, failure to which he could commence proceedings against them. This is in a case in which Mr. Zulu has asked the Constitutional Court to determine whether it was lawful and in compliance with the Constitution for a magistrate to acquit former Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya and 8 others over a case surrounding the honeybee scandal in the absence of authority from the Director of Public Prosecution.
Honeybee farmers directors have responded to a case where they have been dragged to the Constitutional Court by a Lusaka lawyer in relation to the matter they claim to have been acquitted in 2021. This is in a case in which Peter Zulu, a lawyer, wants the court to determine whether it was lawful and in compliance with Article 184 of the Constitution for a Lusaka resident magistrate to have proceeded to acquit the 3 honeybee directors, namely Adoruf Motala, Imran Lunat, Zach Montala, former Minister of Health Dr. Chitalu Chilufya, former Health Permanent Secretary Kakulubelwa, Wilson Lungu, Bonaventure Chilinde, and Chomba Kaoma on a complaint made by a lawyer by the name of Joseph Chiwa in the absence of authority from the Director of Public Prosecution to proceed with a private prosecution. Mr. Zulu wants the court to also determine whether it was lawful and in compliance with Article 188 of the Constitution for the resident magistrate to acquit Dr. Chilufya and others when Mr. Chilwa, the said lawyer who lodged his complaint, withdrew his complaint in the absence of authority from the DPP to discontinue the prosecution. However, according to a notice of intention to raise a preliminary issue on a point of law, Zach Motala, one of the honeybee directors, has argued that Mr. Zulu, who had dragged him and others to court, blackmailed them to give him money, failure to which he would commence proceedings against them, adding that if the case commenced by Mr. Zulu is entertained, it is likely to compromise the integrity of the court. He says the applicant's case is wrongly before the Constitutional Court and is merely aimed at attracting attention and alarming the public. Mr. Motala and 8 others who have been cited in this case, among them Dr. Chilufya, Mr. Kaoma, honeybee farmers and its directors, claim that they were acquitted in 2021 by the Lusaka's Magistrate Court in relation to a corruption case that involved the awarding of a contract to Honeybee to supply medical kits. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A women-led community-based cooperative in Lusaka's Kawata constituency, known as KAFUE Cooperative, has challenged other women to rise to the task of financial liberation, stating that it has begun to reap from its cooperative, which is making dishwashing liquid soap locally. Speaking when showing some of the cooperative's work to the United Party for National Development Women National Committee Monday, KAFUE Cooperative Chairperson Alice Matinanga says the business began from 40,000 kwacha grant. She hopes that similar businesses will start coming up soon and expand so that the Zambian market is filled with locally produced goods.
The concept of cooperative formation under the Constituency Development Fund is expected to transform Zambia into a hive of activity, with an increasing number of goods being produced locally in the few coming years. This is KAFUE Cooperative, a community-based cooperative in Lusaka's Kawata constituency, which is showcasing how it has begun making dishwashing liquid using funding from the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The cooperative, which is women-owned, took time to showcase how the soap is produced locally before the United Party for National Development UPND National Women Committee to show how women-owned cooperatives are performing. Cooperative Chairperson Alice Matinanga says such initiatives are sure to lift women out of poverty.
We are testimony to this assertion. Now that the cooperatives are being funded through CDF, we expect to see the creation of more cooperatives in Kawata constituency and elsewhere.
Responding to the initiative, UPND National Women Chairperson Gladys Tavares says the party women committee will continue encouraging women around the country to form cooperatives regardless of political affiliation.
The only qualification needed is being a woman with a desire to improve our lives at household, community, and national level. As UPND Women's Wing, we have so far helped to register 589 community-based and non-political cooperatives in 6 provinces, broken down as follows. Copperbelt Province, 251, Northern Province, 121, Lusaka Province, 99, Central Province, 47, Eastern Province, 40, Northwestern Province, 31.
The emphasis from locals has been for the quality of Zambian products to be excellent if they are to fairly compete with international products. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Zambia National Youth Think Tank ZNYTT Executive Director Mumba Tebulu has reminded the youths and women in the country to take advantage of empowerment programs under the Constituency Development Fund. In the 2023 national budget, the government has increased the Constituency Development Fund CDF from 25.7 million kwacha to 28.3 million kwacha, and Mr. Tebulu has called for proactivity among citizens in order to benefit from the empowerment. He notes that increasing and denaturalization of the CDF was a good gesture that has jump-started development and the creation of jobs in the country.
For instance, jobs that RDA could do of just putting covered bridges, we are going to have at least a minimum of 156 companies that are going to do those roadworks. So we wish to appeal to our fellow young people and also the women to take advantage of this employment opportunity in the private sector, which government has given. Government has withdrawn certain monies from Lusaka, and there's no need of people clustering around Lusaka, but we have to seize the opportunity within the constituencies. Monies are there. What we just need to do is to go in those constituencies and take a portion of the 28.3 million kwacha. And what makes it interesting is that government now will not have to withdraw money if it is not exhausted. So we are calling upon youth cooperatives, we are calling upon youth companies to take advantage of the employment opportunity, the leverage that government has said in the private sector through construction works and other avenues to go to the constituencies. This is where the money is lying. So as youth think tank, we shall go down across constituencies to sensitize young people on how to come up with some of these projects, other empowerment projects, other empowerment initiatives that are there, which government has created. There are also companies, and the good part is that guidelines are saying for a company to win, it must be domiciled within that constituency, which gives youths in those constituencies an upper hand. So my fellow young people in this country, there is also an opportunity in the private sector which we must take advantage of, because money is there in the constituencies as we speak right now.
A Keep Zambia Clean activist from the Copper Belt, Martin Mlenga, who was last week harassed by cowboys for picking litter at KAFUE main bus station, has become a laughing stock in his community after the video of his harassment went viral. Mr. Mlenga tells Camnet News that he has decided to temporarily leave the Copper Belt due to the bullying that he has endured for simply trying to keep the city clean. Mr. Mlenga, who is a holder of a bachelor's in philosophy, says he has tried to engage the local authority to give him legal documents to voluntarily be picking litter from the streets, but that the only thing he has received is harassment from council workers. He has since appealed to the relevant authorities to help him acquire proper documentation so that he can continue with his quest to contribute to keeping the country clean.
The Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy campaign was launched by the government in 2007 and was aimed at keeping the surroundings clean and green in order to improve the health standard throughout the country. Despite the launch and relaunch of the program by different administrations that have taken over office, litter has continued to surface on the streets, thereby polluting the environment. In a quest to keep his city clean, a Keep Zambia Clean activist from the Copper Belt Kitwe Township, Martin Mulenga, had since September 2022 embarked on an exercise to voluntarily pick litter from the streets. The exercise, however, landed Mr. Mulenga in trouble after some cowboys at KBM station in Kitwe harassed him on accusation that he was practicing witchcraft. That's why he was picking litter from the streets.
Malaletera mapepa twala kuisa ebwanga mwakwata bwango buwe aikwato bwango
Mr. Mulenga, who is a holder of a bachelor's in philosophy but remains unemployed, says he has become a laughingstock in his community after the video of his harassment surfaced on social media, which has now prompted him to leave his town for security reasons.
Citizen, regardless of having qualifications, and I've got nothing to do at the moment, let me put myself at the service of the community. So I started on the 16th September picking litter around Kitwe, as well as I also went to Rwansha, though the reaction that I received from the council workers was not good. They also embarrassed me. Even after I actually applied to Rwansha Civic Center, I applied to work as a street sweeper, but to no avail. They couldn't give me a good response, not until I went back to Kitwe where I started doing that. Of course, the reaction has been bad, as we can see. Our generation this time around, everybody is looking for a white-collar job.
He has since called on relevant authorities to help him secure a permit to continue with his voluntary works to keep the city clean, adding that it is the only way to motivate other community members to come on board and help keep the cities clean.
Make it worse that some people have started calling me names. I've made a laughingstock in my compound after the video went so much viral on social media. So people have been calling me all sorts of names. Even some of the council workers have actually named me so much names that I can't even actually mention. So I decided to come to Lusaka so that I can just come and have a fresh air. So my call to the government is that I'm willing to work as a volunteer as long as the local authorities, they will come here and just maybe to give me a letter so that whenever I go to clean, I show to people that this is what I'm doing, and just maybe working tools, so to speak, so that at least at the end of the day we are going to have a green Zambia.
Poor waste disposal has been contributing to climate change, therefore calling on stakeholders, community members and other leaders to put hands together and find a permanent solution to keep the environment clean, green and healthy. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Are you going in grade 6, 8, 10 or 11 in 2023? Waste no time. Born for Greatness Tuition Center will be opening to the public in Kablonga, Lusaka. Quality and experienced teachers guaranteed. Limited space available. Call and book for your child now on
0962 382535.
Classes are starting on 5th December 2022. Born for Greatness Tuition Center. Learning for reigning in life.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the main news. The Zambia Development Agency, ZDA, says a total of 671 jobs were created in the third quarter of 2022 from 27 investment projects. Updating the media on the state of development for the third quarter of 2022, ZDA Acting Director General Albert Halwampa adds that the total export earnings increased in Zambia in the same period by 0.35%, standing at 2.83 billion United States dollar compared to 2.83 billion United States dollar in 2021. He has also noted that in the sector of business development, 2,752 jobs were created in comparison to 1,236 jobs within the same period in 2021. The ZDA Acting Director General has therefore observed an overall significant improvement in Zambia's development, urging locals to invest in their own country.
The United National Independence Party, UNIP, says to reach a status of prosperity, there is need to reflect on which areas can be improved, such as the labor sector, noting that this is one area which needs serious intervention, stating that Zambians are being subjected to slave labor. Speaking to Camnet News, UNIP spokesperson Andrew Mwima says while the country is free from colonial masters, many citizens are still socially and economically bound, especially those in foreign-owned industries.
We want the Zambians, even when they go for work, they know they are going to work. Not where a Zambian goes for work, they don't know when they are going to be paid. Even when they are working, they are just pleading. They can't complain. You try to say, I'm sick, I want to go on sick leave. Even women to go for maternity leave, there is nothing. Then you lose your job. It's not supposed to be that. They work long hours and get just peanut. Even right now, I can say, may the UPND government look in how much Zambians are being paid. They are getting literally nothing. And this is their country. And how can the money remain in the country? And most of the money is taken out of the country. No wonder the kwacha can be strong today, but tomorrow it goes down.
The UNIP spokesperson further notes that the country's overdependence on imported products also calls for reflection, as there is need for Zambia to produce various goods locally.
So the question, the challenge we have as a new generation is, what is it that we are going to do to make this country become economically viable? Are we going to be like a marketplace, a dumping place where people come and do business and off they go? And our people, by the time UNIP left office, we had a lot of people working under parastatal companies. Yes, they were getting decent jobs, and we didn't have such a high rate of unemployment. We didn't have such a high rate of illiteracy.
He hopes that such interventions will remove Zambia from the map of impoverished countries and take it to its desired destination. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Zambia Public Procurement Authority, ZPPA, has permanently barred 3 suppliers from participating in public procurement. ZPPA Director General Ida Chela has named the 3 suppliers as Greenside Investment Limited, FMC Farms Limited, and SOMALIA Trading Company. Ms. Chela says the 3 have been barred for colluding and conniving in the submission of quotation in a tender by the Ministry of Health. She says the tender in question relates to the procurement of face masks and reusable surgical scrubs to support the response towards the COVID-19 outbreak. Mrs. Chela also disclosed that the authority has suspended 6 suppliers from participating in public procurement for a period of 1 year for submitting false insurance bid bonds in the tender for the construction of various projects in Kapulta district under the 2021 Constituency Development Funds CDF.
Further, from the assessments undertaken in the third quarter of 2022, ZPPA established that the aforementioned procuring entities were non-compliant with the Public Procurement Act and Public Procurement Regulations by scoring 37 to 50% on the compliance indicators. Remember, we talked about the assessments. So they are ranked. So if it is below 50%, then they are non-compliant. So they need to show cause why, especially after follow-ups. Non-preparation of annual procurement plans is that it results in unplanned procurement. Further, non-submission of annual procurement plan is contrary to Section 57(2) of the Public Procurement Act. And while we are on this topic, I just want to urge all the procuring entities to ensure that they submit, because we are going towards the year end, and we know that most of the procuring entities which are public, their financial year ends by 31st December. So they need to have their APPs approved and submitted to the authority for review. And also that will help the public to follow, because it will be published on the EGP.
About 210 vulnerable households in Chipata district have received support from the 1,000 Days of Social Cash Transfer Nutrition Pilot Project. Chipata District Commissioner Elida Banda flagged off the 1,000 Days Social Cash Transfer Nutrition payment, saying 6,444 people are expected to benefit from the 3 years pilot project to be carried out in the district. Mrs. Banda says the nutrition payments program links social cash transfer to additional services typically needed by pregnant, lactating mothers and children up to 2 years of age to support the health development of children.
Government is working with various stakeholders such as UNICEF in order to promote nutritional feeding in rural communities. The launch of the Social Cash Transfer 1,000 Days Nutrition Pilot Project in Chipata District, supported by UNICEF and other cooperating partners, is such an initiative. Chipata District Commissioner Elida Banda officially flagged off the ceremony.
The pilot will make use of the services offered through different programs, and particularly those focused on improving nutrition, thus the Scaling Up Nutrition program, combining cash plus nutrition package with a strong social behavior change communication strategy. Non-social cash transfer beneficiaries will receive monthly 275 kwacha, paid as 550 bi-monthly payments. Cash transfer beneficiaries' household will receive an additional monthly nutrition top-up of 75 kwacha, 150 bi-monthly. Households with persons with disabilities will receive double transfer amount, an additional 150 will be provided bi-monthly. Thus, they will receive 950 kwacha. All stakeholders to embrace the pilot with both hands as a positive outcome of the pilot will enable government to introduce a new category of the regular social cash transfer program, making it more nutrition sensitive.
District Social Welfare Officer Charity Piri outlined the objectives and targets of the project.
So hii program kuno kwatu kuchipata manga muziva DC ili mumawadi monse komanso mazoni monse ya district yanu ya Chipata. So namba ya bantu wamene vanatengedwa wamene vanapasa kuti wayambepo kulandira pa program iyi ili ngati 6,444 kuno kwatu kuchipata. Hii programu itandizira nayi amene anyewa takathandizira social cash transfer chifukwa chake mwaona kuti tilandirisa pamozi kuli vaja amene valandira social cash transfer amene valandira program yanyu ndise vamozi tonse.
Meanwhile, Eunice Piri gave a vote of thanks on behalf of other beneficiaries that received the payments in the district. Sylvester Chimba for Zanis in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
The Chiawa Royal Establishment has appealed to government to construct houses for police officers in the area. Chiawa Royal Establishment Councilperson Boniface Chiawa said it is unfortunate that police officers stay among community members. Mr. Chiawa notes that the chiefdom lacks a number of infrastructure development. He noted that businesses such as banks and mobile money booths, among others, are lacking in the area as a result of the poor state of the roads. He added that people in the area spend more than 500 kwacha to go and bank money in KAFUE district, which is unfair for the vulnerable community. And Lusaka Province Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata said government is aware of the challenges faced by the people of Chiawa. Mr. Kamalata said government is keen to bringing development to the area and improve lives of the people. We'll take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Are you going in grade 6, 8, 10 or 11 in 2023? Waste no time. Born for Greatness Tuition Center will be opening to the public in Kablonga, Lusaka. Quality and experienced teachers guaranteed. Limited space available. Call and book for your child now on
0962 382535.
Classes are starting on 5th December 2022. Born for Greatness Tuition Center, learning for reigning in life.
Welcome back. Now getting into our international item. Somalia's president has issued an urgent plea for international help for wounded victims of the devastating car bombing at the weekend that claimed the lives of 100 people. The government put out an appeal for blood donation with dozens of people gathered outside hospitals in the capital Mogadishu seeking news of family members. In Mogadishu on Saturday, 2 cars packed with explosives blew up minutes apart near the busy Zobe intersection, followed by gunfire in an attack targeting Somalia's education ministry. Here's a roundup of international news.
Somalia's president has issued an urgent plea for international help for wounded victims of the devastating car bombings at the weekend that claimed the lives of 100 people. The government put out an appeal for blood donations, with dozens of people gathered outside the hospitals in the capital Mogadishu, seeking news of family members. 4 of us were wounded in the blast, 1 of us severely injured. I lost consciousness and woke up to see blood on my body, and thus all the area was also covered with smoke. and fire. In Mogadishu on Saturday, 2 cars packed with explosives blew up Minnes apart near the Bizizobe intersection, followed by gunfire in attack targeting Somalia's education ministry. Bulldozers were continuing to clear the blast site on Monday in the hunt for bodies feared trapped under the rubble. Al-Qaeda link Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attacks.
Three members of the Central African Armed Group 3R were sentenced to prison Monday. The sentences range from 20 years to life for crimes against humanity in a first verdict by the Special Criminal Court, a hybrid court of local and international judges. Issa Salet Adum, Usman Yauba and Tahir Mahamat, accused of the May 21, 2019 massacre of 46 civilians in villages in the northwest, were found guilty of, among other things, murder, inhumane acts and humiliating and degrading treatment. Issa Salet Adum was also convicted in his capacity as a military commander for rapes committed by his subordinates constituting crimes against humanity and war crimes. The defendants have 3 days to appeal, according to the court, which acquitted them of the charge of torture as a war crime. The Central African Republic, the second least developed country in the world according to the UN, has been the scene of a civil war since 2013, very deadly in its early years, but which has decreased in intensity since 2018. The civil war continues today between armed rebel groups and the army of President Touadéra, backed by hundreds of Russian paramilitaries.
We now get into our sports item. The Football Association of Zambia is calling for application to fill the position Zambia national team head coach. The role represents a key position in the Zambia national team set up in the cycle 2019-2022. The coach will be the head coach for the senior men national team and oversees the developmental sides under 23, under 20 and under 17 for both men and women. With his technical team, he will lead the program and preparations of the teams for the 2024 Africa Cup qualifiers and the 2026 World Cup. Some of the qualifications for a suitable candidate include knowledge of extensive international football and experience at senior and national team level. Must have good understanding of Zambia national team playing philosophy and playing principles to create a competitive and successful team, among others. Qualifying candidates have been advised to deliver their applications, curriculum vitae and certified copies of certificates and identity cards before 5th November 2022. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Mushrooming Chinese lead factories in KABWE worry government. UPND cadres reject KAFUE council chairperson BUUMBA Malambo, accusing her of running the council like her home. A labor union challenges government to inspect foreign-owned companies. And in international news, Somalia's president appeals for international help for wounded victims. And in sports, FAZ invites application for CHIPOLOPOLO coach. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of 1 Peter 5 verse 8 to 9, and it reads, "Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a rolling lion, looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that your brothers throughout the world are undergoing the same kind of suffering." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.